Well, hello, everyone. It is Saturday, March 29th, 2025. Yes, we are coming on at a little different time today, trying something new. Let's see if we can get Alex on here, the real Alex. Well, hello there.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Did you get some rest after your late night last night?
There's no rest for the wicked, sir.
Well, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Tell me what's going on over there.
Well, trying to get the property tied down. Looks like we may have a little bumpy weather tonight. So, other than that, gonna go do it again tonight.
Oh, okay. What are you guys expecting over there?
I think most of the severe weather is going to be south of us, but we're in line for some pretty good thunderstorms, potential hail. So.
Oh wow.
High winds and hail is nothing out of the ordinary for this part of the country. So.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you had some. Oh, wait, I think we got James here. Hold on one second. There we go. Let's see if that worked. Are you there, James?
Yes, sir, I am. Good evening.
How are you, sir? Anything happening in your neck of the woods today, James?
Well, I'm kind of tapping my fingers, waiting for the lake to shell its ice. We're still got plenty of ice on the lake.
Ice?
Oh yeah, it was a little over 3 feet deep, so it's going to take a few more days. We get some windy, warm weather that ought to chew it off pretty good.
Well, you just need to come down south with that boat, sir. There's lots of bass and crappie and catfish, whatever your pleasure. Walleye.
Oh, I've done plenty of fishing down that way. It's always fun to hit other water.
Well, we don't have 3 foot ice. It's a little easier.
Exactly. Terry, thank you for the heads up on the reverse mirror thing. Christy B's here. Hey, Christy, glad you could make it. Yeah, you guys, I lived in Colorado for a number of years, and I lived up in Winter Park. And right next to Winter Park is a place called Fraser, Colorado. And they call it the ice box of the world. And it is the coldest temperature in the continental USA around the year. And I'm telling you, it was so cold there on a regular basis. They had this annual thing where they put a refrigerator on this small pond, and they would do a lottery system for people to guess when that refrigerator was going to drop through the ice. And it was something to behold, man. So I could imagine, I know what you're going through when it comes to the cold weather.
Well, that's when you just drill a hole and drop your fish hook down through the hole.
Yeah, not a freaking chance, dude. It was hard enough coming from Los Angeles, a native-born Angelino, moving to 9,000-foot elevation. Winter, and on top of it, I'm a camel jockey, so I like hot weather.
Well, you get a little hut, and you get a little propane heater sitting in the corner, and literally you'll be peeling layers off inside your little hut to do some ice fishing, man.
Really?
Rainbow trout. I'm just saying, good stuff, buddy.
I don't know, man. I like the kind that comes wrapped in cellophane.
Oh man, I'm done.
Exactly. I know, city boy. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Lisa Maria's here. Hey, Lisa Maria.
That's putting it lightly, city boy.
Yeah, I know. But I did tough it out for 4 years at 9,000 foot elevation, and then moved the family down to, when I was married, down to Denver, and spent another 4 years there. So I know what it's like living in the sticks. I mean, in fact, in Grand County in Colorado, there was 10,000 people in the entire county. 10,000 people.
super familiar with that very area.
Yeah, not. I mean, I'd probably go back at some point to visit, but that would be about it.
I'd get off work at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd throw the snowboard in the back of the car, and I would drive up the mountain and ski until Keystone runs night skiing, and then probably spend the next 2 days of the weekend sleeping in the back seat of my car so I could hit the slopes as soon as they open. But
Yeah.
that was a whole nother lifetime ago.
No, thank you is all I can say. Now, I did. In fact, I was just talking to somebody today about skiing, and I think skiing's great. You know, I don't really enjoy it. In fact, here's a story. So we moved to Winter Park, and I'm coming from LA, right? So I don't know from snow at all. And so I decide, well, you know what? I'm going to try snowboarding because I used to be a skateboarder, and I figured out, you know, it's got to be similar. I'm going to like that. So I'm on my third day of lessons on snowboarding, third day. And I finally asked the guy's name was Stan. I remember it well. I said, Stan, am I ever going to get this snowboarding thing? And he kind of sits back and he goes, well, Sam, he goes, you might want to try skiing. So that was the end of my snowboarding career. I moved to skiing, and it was not pretty, you guys. I'm going to tell you, at that point, I was probably 250 pounds. I wore a big red snowsuit so when I was coming down the mountain, it was like a red flare, and people would just move out of the way because I was out of control. And that was on the bunny slopes. Yeah, I know. Believe me.
And all these years later, folks, he's still out of control.
Exactly. It was enjoyable. It was. I enjoyed it, you know, the first couple of times. My ex-wife and my kids, they loved it. So we went all the time. We had, you know, the yearly passes and all, but I'm not into cold. I'm sorry. I'd rather be in the desert somewhere. But given my heritage, it doesn't surprise me. So tell me, you guys, what are you seeing? What do we need to keep aware of this fine day? Anything jumping out at you, Alex?
Weekend prices were oil's still at 69, 36. Hovering right around that $70 mark. I think the big news, which really isn't big news, crypto's down a couple percent across the board.
Yeah.
And good old gold holding steady at $3,099.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a trend we're going to continue to see for a while, but. Not financial advice. Buy it in the TikTok shop.
Right. Exactly. James, what are you seeing out there? Anything significant we need to keep an eye on?
Well, there's a few things going on today. The judge that what was his name? Bourbeau?
Yeah.
Is that it? I found kind of watching some of the things that he was putting out or coming out on him. I didn't realize that his daughter was running some sort of group that advocated for a lot of these rioters. I'm not really certain what the actual term is, but his daughter is someone that he's defending, and she is the recipient of 14 million USAID. I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't remove himself or recuse himself. There's some competition there that people are taking a look at. RFK Jr. Being they're going after him in a lot of different ways. Kash Patel. There's quite a few things going on there, and Elon Musk. You know, the rumor has it that he's stepping down. Well, actually, he's not. He's got a 130-day commitment. Any further than that, he'd have to become a government employee, and he doesn't want that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be taking him sometime into May, but his job may be done sooner than that.
Right. Well,
what's the news on Kash?
Oh, Kash. The interesting part of this is Donald Trump filed suit yesterday, and he's suing everybody that is on the left. He's suing them civilly, so he can bring in all the witnesses at one time. So he's gonna bring the wagons in all at one time, and he's under the RICO Act, Racketeering, Enforcement, and Corrupt Organizations. So he's suing them as a blanket civilly, and it's not really so much the money as he's going to bring them all in the court at one time. And as you know, if you have to go to court civilly, you can actually criminal charges can actually stem from that.
Right.
And that's the part that he's looking at. I mean, you're looking at judgments north of $100 million, but he's bringing even in Pfizer is included in on this. So it's kind of interesting that he's rounding up that big a group of wagons at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and with the RFK thing, I had sent some stuff to Sam and for us to all investigate and look through. But here's my thoughts. I mean, look at the upset that RFK is creating in the status quo with corporations and big pharma and all that. So it's no surprise. And if there are skeletons in his closet, he has owned them all along. Talking about the documentary, an acquaintance of mine, Ron Lynch, helped him do the documentary on RFK. I mean, he talks about the drugs, the partying, the cruising the world, being a hobo on a train, and I don't think the dude's going to back down from anything they throw at him.
No,
I don't think so.
No, I think
so.
yeah, there's a lot of people, talking about it right now. Alex sent me a video of Candace Owens, and she was talking about some different components of it, and it's all over social media, especially that Ian Carroll guy at this point. Hey, thank you, Secret Squirrel. Glad you could make it. Thank you for the hat and for the cap, and for the glasses. And I listened to the whole Candace Owens interview, or I should say podcast. I've been scanning social media all day, and it looks to me like there are possibly some paid shills, high paid shills with huge followings that are causing a lot of this chaos. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are doing it specifically to attack President Trump's cabinet. They're pretty bulletproof. And I think you're right, Alex, with RFK Jr., he's been sober a long time, and he doesn't make any bones about it. He comes right out, and there's no there, because he admits it. He admits that he was, a crazy man in the past, like I was, and we're both sober now. So let them talk what they want. But I find it interesting to see the people that are coming out against RFK Jr., President Trump, and the cabinet, because there's got to be an ulterior motive there. What that ulterior motive is, your guess is as good as mine, but it sure seems like it's happening that way.
The ulterior motive is plain as day. It's money.
Yeah.
Like, that's the piggy banks are getting shut down. Like, folks can't be dropping dimes in their little secret piggy banks anymore. And I mean, it's no surprise. I look at all 4 years of the previous administration that Trump had to defend himself constantly. This is just one more, Kavanaugh confirmation tactic trick. Like, it's
right.
And I have a lot of respect for the research that Ian Carroll, that dude puts in some work. So, we'll see what surfaces.
So here's my only concern about Ian Carroll. He came out of nowhere a year ago, and he's got millions of followers. Now, most everything I've seen from him, I liked. I have agreed with him. I think he makes good points. He does good research, but I just find it interesting that he came out of nowhere and at light speed hit millions of followers. And now, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about that other board that we follow. And he was kind of poo-pooing it away, which, according to a military operation, I could see that he would do that if he was in on the know. But I find it interesting that all of a sudden now he is part of the crew that may be calling into question RFK Jr. Now, President Trump didn't just fall off the turnip truck. He's vetted people. He knows what their exposures are, I'm sure. And when I say President Trump, I don't mean just him, but his entire crew, the Trump and team. They know what they're doing. And they wouldn't be bringing RFK Jr. in if there was some skeleton in the closet, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Well, he's tapping on some pretty big doors now. When you talk about artificial dye and looking at Kellogg's, Smuckers, General Mills, I mean, he's definitely beating a big drum there, and that's not all of it. You know, when he's wants to ban cell phones in classrooms, that's tapping on a lot of people.
Well, and he's also, you know, he's going after the advertising for pharmaceutical companies on television. You know, we're one of the only countries that allows direct-to-consumer advertising from the pharmaceutical companies, and that's a big one, because you get them off of the airwaves. There is no very little sponsorship for these mainstream media outlets, which, you know, they're down 60, 70, 80% anyway. But that's a big hit. It doesn't surprise me that he's getting attacked at nauseum at this point.
I remember back in the day when tobacco was allowed to be on television. Walt Garrison,
Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
Walt Garrison, a pinch between the cheek and gum. So, do you think that the tobacco industry suffered a great deal when they pulled their ads off of TV?
I would think so. I don't know how much they suffered, but the people that they were sponsoring certainly did.
Okay.
You know, but again, I don't know. This is a much deeper rabbit hole, because we're talking about, at this point in time with mainstream media, the pharmaceutical industry is a huge sponsor of a lot of these mainstream media news outlets. I mean, what is it? 50, 60% of them are sponsored by some sort of pharma company. So
I bet I'm just higher than that.
yeah, I'm just shooting in the dark here, but you know, in fact, maybe you could look that up, Alex, see if there's anything we can find. We had Secret Squirrel said the Dems had no control on the vote, so they can only attack the cabinet. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that you have an overwhelming mandate from the American people. We wanted President Trump in office. And again, there is no way, in my opinion, that Kamala Harris got 70 million votes. But again, now President Trump coming out and saying that he won 2020, plain as day. He's not beating around the bush anymore. He's coming right out with it. Does that mean that we have a significant exposure about to take place when it comes to the elections? Could be. I don't know what to make of it at this point. Darkwool said if the DOJ started arresting everyone they have evidence against, these attacks would stop. Well, again, we don't know how many grand juries are in session. We don't know how many active investigations are taking place. And you're not going to telegraph your punches when you're in a fight. It's going to be done in a very covert manner. So I give Pam Bondi and Kash Patel a lot of grace. They're just getting started. I mean, we're a couple of months into the new administration. I think that we have to give them time to get their ducks in a row. What'd you find, Alex?
So this is an older article from 2019. Big Pharma shells out $20 billion each year to schmooze doctors, and $6 billion on drug ads. $6 billion, $20 billion back to the doctors.
Yep, exactly. And you know, I think the average doctor comes into practice with their heart in the right place, but they've just been taught incorrectly. And now that exposure with RFK Jr. coming to the forefront, we're going to see a lot of dominoes start to fall. I mean, we're talking about he's already gotten rid of the CDC's ability to promote the flu vaccines. He's already going after their advertising when it comes to the American people. This is just the beginning. He's only been in office, what, a month and a half, something like that?
$6.6 billion Likely no surprise that most TV viewers only retail financial, retail 8.7 billion, financial and real estate 7.9, and tech 7.4. Serve up more TV ads than pharma. The industry edged out 6 billion automakers in traditional TV ad stronghold. Seems to be dropping. So year over year, the pharmaceutical spend is climbing up.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got not only RFK Jr. doing what he's doing with Big Pharma, you have him going after the food industry. The food industry in and of itself is a mammoth monster to take on. And he's not pulling any punches. I mean, you've got people coming out and saying, oh, he's banning soft drinks from the SNAP program. Well, he should. Our kids should not be drinking that crap, period.
$21 billion, Sam, is what between Pepsi and Coke on the SNAP program. $21 billion is what he took away from them.
That's a lot of money to put at risk. It doesn't surprise me that these shills are coming after him at this point.
Right.
Geneva said they're coming after RFK Jr. with all kinds of drama now. They're trying to destroy him. That's exactly right. He's in office, or he's in a position to affect change. Big Pharma doesn't like that. Big Food doesn't like that because he's not playing according to their rules. He's playing according to the American people and what's best for us. And I my hat is off to him. You know, the guys, I'm sure, just like President Trump, he's going to be taking some slings and arrows because he's speaking the truth. And we have lived in a state of deception for so. What's that?
Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. We lived in a state. We have lived in a state of deception for so long. There we go. That's the way it should be. Exactly. Good job, Alex. But we've lived in an era of deception for so long that it's going to take time to get those roots rooted out. That's just the way it works. And I have to compliment him. In fact, I have a friend, a close friend of mine that is friends with him, and apparently she's going to make some calls for me and see if we can get him on the show. I mean, it's a crapshoot, but you never know. I would love to ask him some specific questions because he's got some stones to go after the people that probably had something to do with his father's demise. At least I would think that that's possible. Hey, Daddy D's here. Hey, Daddy D, glad you can make it. Melissa's here. Hello, Melissa. Glad you can make it. We're coming on, just so everybody knows, we're coming on a little later today. We did not do the live this morning. We're going to try some different times out to see what works better for everybody. I think next Wednesday, we're going to do a late broadcast as well for the live. So I'll be saying on the Daily Dispatch what we're going to be doing. But if you're new here on this on TikTok, oh, Alex, you got some background noise there.
Yeah, I know. It's Allie Mae.
Oh, hi, Allie Mae. Ooh, that looks good.
We got some chicken. We got some veggies. We got some beans.
Yum.
We got some rice. We got some pita bread.
Wow.
We got some overalls.
Oh, you better be careful.
Apparently, I got a steamy camera too.
Well, and I'm guessing that she's probably got a knife in arm's reach, so you better be careful there.
I'm gonna collect my bounty, and you guys are gonna have to endure a little dinner time because it's not 4:00 in the afternoon in the Midwest.
Right, exactly. No, do what you got to do, Alex. So, like we were saying with RFK Jr., he's going to experience some pushback. That's just the way it is. And fortunately, I'm glad to see that he's got the intestinal fortitude to be able to put up with it. I mean, look at what President Trump has gone through in the last 8 years alone. I mean, that poor guy has been just lambasted constantly. I can't even imagine what they're doing to him privately.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
come on.
Exactly.
They're all putting it all on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And at the very least, all we can do is support them. Lady Monarch said, "Unite America." I agree. We are in the process of uniting America by exposing what's happening on the left, what's been going on for decades. That can't help but unite America. And we're going to have that percentage of the people that are, have TDS syndrome to such a large degree that they just can't see the forest for the trees. But I don't see how you get around that at this point. We have, Utah governor banning fluoride. I can remember, you guys, 25 years ago, I read reports from MIT, probably 30 years ago, MIT, New England Journal of Medicine, the British Lancet, all of them explaining how toxic fluoride is. And I would scream at people back then, and they thought I was flipping crazy. Well, now the truth is coming out. Fluoride is a byproduct. Sodium fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum manufacturing, artificial fertilizer manufacturing, and they used to have to package it in such a way and dispose of it because it was a highly toxic substance. So what have they done now? Or what did they do back then? They falsified a bunch of testing, and they said it was good for you. Well, if you take an average toothpaste now in the box and you look at that box, it says word for word, if you ingest more than a pea-sized amount of this, go to the hospital immediately. But you never hear anybody talk about it because so many people.
Go back through history and look at how fluoride specifically has been used on populations and what for.
Right.
Just do your research, folks.
Right. Well, and part of that is it reduces the cognitive ability. There are rumors that that's partly what the guy in Germany did during that whole situation. So you put it in the water supply here in America. We're one of the only countries in the world that allow that to happen still. We're one of the only countries in the world that allow direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical advertising. And I'm hopeful, and it sure looks like RFK Jr. is going to deal with that.
We're having some California treats with our.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Avocado fat is very good for you. Good job, Alex.
It's not me.
Allie Mae, good job. Keep up the good work. Now you guys are making me jealous. You're getting me hungry over here. As soon as they get those transporters working, those you guys could beam some over here next time.
Sam, you just need to come over and spend a weekend, brother.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Tons of adventures for you, city.
Oh my gosh. It cracks me up. So all of us were on this private chat earlier, text chain, and Alex was showing some of his guns, and James was talking about what he likes better. And, I'm a true city man. I'm not very well versed in that stuff. So you would really have your hands full if I did come out there for the weekend, Alex. I wouldn't know shit from Shinola, excuse my language.
Those are water squirters. Pews. Be careful, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I'm at a point now where it's like, whatever. We get violations. Whatever.
Alex said you're talking about these.
Yeah, exactly. Well, those I have, but not the other ones. But so it's interesting. President Trump has been coming out more and more with straight talk, meaning he's talking about the stolen election. He's talking about the people trying to bar the deportations. And he came out and he talked about wartime law. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, we follow another board here, and we have for a long time. We're pretty well versed in it. And we are living in a time where continuity of government, devolution, whatever you want to call it, is front and center. Now, I don't think the average person understands it, but I think now President Trump is rolling out that rhetoric more and more to bring people up to speed. And for him to come out and talk about wartime law, that's a big move. That's a big move, in my opinion, for him to bring that out in the mainstream. What do you think, James?
We can't hear you,
Okay,
Jake.
James, something's wrong with your
Microphone covered up?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What's interesting is we've covered some of this subject before, and I have to think and I have to believe that we're being measured as to how this is going down. It's not just one fell swoop operation. It's a little bit at a time. And you have to wonder, there's checks and balances in place that people are there. We have to get through this legally. We have had an insurmountable rate of lawsuits, and it's unfortunate, but at this time, it seems like we are spending more time fighting back and forth than we are passing the laws that we need to run this country.
right.
But that's the way it is.
It was funny when I heard him say that. There's that funny meme or video or whatever where Leonardo DiCaprio's like,
Yeah.
look.
Exactly.
Can you imagine old Derek Johnson when he heard it?
Exactly. Pointing at it. Yeah, I know. That's exactly right. Lady Monarch said they're poisoning us. Well, that's true. Secret Squirrel said breaking the stranglehold is quite the undertaking by the Patriots. It'll take time. And I think you're absolutely right, Squirrel. This Hydra that we're fighting has been entrenched for so long, and it's so big and so wide, it's going to take time. I agree with you 100%. Shauna Cause said Canada has fluoride everywhere. She worked in the dental industry for 20 years. Yeah, this is a huge, deep. The breadth and width of this deep state is much bigger than even I thought 5 years ago. When the pandemic hit, I didn't realize how big it was until now. Share Baby said the same thing, and Secret Squirrel and Danny Cooper, thank you for the gifts. Yeah, it's a monumental task to take over and to take down the people that have been the nefarious players that have been infiltrated into our government for decades. And again, I'm getting a little more bold with what we say because I think it has to be said. If you go to that other board and you look at some of the things that it says, unless there is some sort of Patriots in control at some level, you cannot predict something 6 years ago that takes place to the day on those boards. There is something to be said of that. Even General Flynn now is not, he's not really promoting it, but he's not vehemently denying it either. And General Flynn, if you happen to see this live broadcast, you're welcome to come on with us at any time. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Well, Sam, you're the only one on this panel that can afford to be more brazen because the rest of us have restrictions after the new guidelines have come out.
Yeah, I know. That's the weirdest thing. So on TikTok, there's a way to check your account. And, I've been violated many times, but for whatever reason, I've been given the green light. So I'm going to take that green light and run with it. I'm going to take the ball and run with it. And we'll just see where the cards fly, where they fall. I don't know. Let's see. So let's see. Oh,
Sam in a corner.
So what's that about me in a corner?
Ali said nobody puts Sam in a corner.
Yeah, well, I'm just at a point now, you guys, where it's like the truth has to be said, and it has to be done in a way. I mean, even in the last few weeks of the lives that we've been doing, we've been able to use more and more language that I think is appropriate. And I'm not talking about foul language. I'm talking about specific things, whether it's vaccines, whether it's big pharma, whatever it is. We have to be able to let the people know. And I think that is at least part of my mission to wake people up. And I think we're getting the green light on a lot of these social media platforms. I mean, look, President Trump is on Facebook now. Dan Scavino is on Facebook. You have Telegram, which, I won't go down that whole rabbit hole, but there are General Flynn on TikTok, President Trump on TikTok. You know, they would not be on those platforms if there wasn't a reason for it. And all this talk about, oh, TikTok's going to get banned and, you know, it's coming up on the deadline. It's my opinion that it's already happened. They've already dealt with it. It's already been taken care of. Otherwise, I don't think President Trump would have come on TikTok. But he's here and he's posting. And so is General Flynn and Dan Scavino. You know, those are major players in this movement. And I, for one, am glad to see it.
I see a lot of complaining today about people that had 500,000 followers, content creators that they didn't ever have a violation, and all of a sudden, poof, they're gone. And some of the people say that TikTok didn't want to have a big payroll when they sold the company, if in fact that's what happens, or maybe it did, but they didn't want a big payroll. There's some people making some pretty big bingo, you know, 500,000-600,000 followers, and all of a sudden, boom, they're gone for no reason.
Right.
Seeing a lot of complaints about that today.
Yeah. Well, and again, I that's why I bring up this Ian Carroll thing. That guy came out of nowhere. You know, he kind of reminded me of Obama. Hey, we got some glasses. Thank you. Thank you, Daddy D. I just am leery of people that come out of nowhere and they're super skyrocketed in the first year. I mean, I'm in my third year and I'm grinding it out every day. And then somebody comes.
There's Instagram and other platforms where Ian Carroll has content. I mean, going back to like 2022, 2023. So, and it can happen to anybody, Sam. Like, well, thanks for the glasses. It can happen to anybody. There was a firefighter who simply put a video out saying that there was a firefighter's ball and he didn't own a suit, and something happened, and he got like 2.6 million views when he woke up the next morning. Like, it can happen if your content or your whatever, for whatever reason, something strikes a nerve and it gets rolling. I mean, who knows? So I don't know. I have yet to. I don't say he's like everybody else. I don't agree with everything, but I will say that, like, he's thorough. He puts in the time when you know, he first started out with looking at the grocery shelves and what is still a locally owned. You know, I think that's really good content.
Right.
For a lot of people that want to know, you know, who's big and who's still, you know, technically family owned.
Right.
So I don't know, Sam. It could be, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's suspicious to me.
Look what happened to the Haktua girl. She went viral overnight.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then she got involved with the wrong people and had a Ponzi scheme in the cryptography world, and now she's gone forever.
Yeah. That was interesting, to say the least. Christy B said, one of our subscribers said, they used a lot of fluoride when she got so sick from it. Well, that's not surprising. It's a very toxic substance. And RFK Jr., I'm sure that's why he's getting attacked now, because he's in position to make a change. Big food, big pharma, they don't want to see their gravy train go away. So it doesn't surprise me that he's getting attacked. But I just find this whole, you know, Candace Owens going down these rabbit holes, Ian Carroll, they all seem to be suggesting that there's some sort of backstory with RFK Jr. But, you know, he had some kind of a deal with a sexting scandal, but he fessed up to it the best that I can tell. So why bring?
I think the bigger point of the stories is the highlighting of the fact that blackmail is the tactic. Like, how many times have we seen it? How many times, you know, Kavanaugh's, you know, confirmations and all of these, you know, scandalous, you know, this, that, the other. And so maybe the spotlight now is being put on blackmail, because there might be some other blackmail coming to the top of the pot to be served up.
Right, right. So somebody was just giving you static about eating on Alive, and Melissa said, "Hey, this other person, shush." I love it. Thanks, Melissa. You get them.
I tried to be discreet and take each bite below the camera. If you ever tasted my wife's cooking, you'd eat on Alive. You'd eat while you were fighting a fire.
Yeah.
You'd eat while you were trying to swim in the swimming pool. If she handed it to you, you'd eat it. I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. Oh, that's classic. Thank you, Melissa, for having our back. I like that.
My apologies for my.
Oh, don't worry about it. Who cares? So we know that President Trump put tariffs. The tariffs are coming out April 2nd, right? But he essentially is preparing to add an extra 25% to the EU. And they came out and they said, "Oh, we're not going to allow that to happen, and we're going to fight back." Well, now they've come out with a term sheet. Here's what we'd like to see happen, Mr. Trump. These people, just like Canada, the new Prime Minister Carney coming out, essentially threatening President Trump. They just did. I can't remember who said it to me, but somebody sent me a video of Canada's military, and they look about as threatening as a houseplant. I mean, they can't even march in order, and we're worried about them? I don't think so. Oh my gosh, you guys have got to see that. I wish I had the ability to post it on TikTok as we're on this, because it just cracked me up. It was classic. But now they're coming out with this term sheet, it appears France is the one that's heading it up. It's not surprising. Macron and his wife, husband, whatever that person is, not surprising at all to me. What do you guys think?
You're going to see opposition. It wouldn't matter if you said, "I want to give you $1." They'd be mad because it wasn't 5.
Yeah.
He's never going to be right. For the people that support the Republican side, and they support even the Democrats that support President Trump, we're fighting opposition at every turn, and it's not easy.
Right. That's exactly right, James. 100% I agree. So let's move over to Mississippi. We had Tate Reeves, the governor of Mississippi, came out yesterday and said that they've eliminated income. Wow, Alex, you are not playing around today, are you?
Well, I don't want to gross anybody out with my food.
That's classic. I didn't even know you could do that. So Tate Reeves over in Mississippi made an announcement yesterday that they eliminated income tax completely in Mississippi. And I see all of these shills coming out now. Oh, well, they've eliminated income tax, but they're going to raise this tax. They're going to do this tax. It's no matter what you do, some people are just not going to be happy. And I think this is a perfect example of it. You have somebody willing to step out on a limb, eliminate income tax in the state of Mississippi, and he gets static for it. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. What do you think, James?
Well, Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, Wyoming, and now Mississippi joins them. I think you're going to see more to follow for sure.
Absolutely. I think it's the same thing that we're saying. Oh my God, Alex is on a roll today. Alex, oh my gosh.
The whole system's in the shitter.
Isn't that the truth? Right? And there it goes.
There's something in that food.
Yeah, Allie Mae, we're going to have a little talk about this. I want to know what you're putting in Alex's food. So
it's Saturday. I'm having a little fun with the show.
Yeah, have fun. Dark Wolf said, "I honestly believe the American people are frustrated with waiting and they need to see something." Well, I understand that, Dark Wolf, but I also think we are seeing a lot. We are seeing President Trump taking control of the economic situation. We're seeing tariffs being imposed. We're seeing USAID being shut down completely. We're seeing Social Security being exposed for the amount of fraudulent behavior and payments that have been going out. So I know we want to see perp walks. I know we want to see handcuffs, but there are a lot of good things happening that we didn't see, we haven't seen in decades.
Well, it's no different than the local. They're everybody's local town. You don't hear about everything until you read it at the end of the week at the newspaper. Who got arrested and what the outcome was and what they got arrested for. Sometimes you don't even find out what the outcome was. It's just that they got arrested. Well, there's a lot of people in hot water. And when that report comes out, it's going to be big.
Right. Christy B said, I'll be moving to Mississippi as soon as our house sells. Looking forward to the move. Yeah, I've really considered leaving California. I'm at a point where, but I think for now, this is where I'm supposed to be, in the belly of the beast. And I don't know. I think California is on the upswing. I think that they are being targeted, for lack of a better term, by President Trump. And I think we're going to see a lot of things happen here that people are going to be surprised by. Melissa said, liberals are never happy. They're miserable people. Day of rage, that's every day for them. Well, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Melissa, I think that people that are typically just not happy people in general, that's typically the way they react, especially when you question their fundamental belief systems. They don't understand why they believe what they believe. So when you question those fundamental belief systems and they don't have a firm grasp on why they believe it, they'll either lash out or they'll shut down or they'll become emotional. Who knows for sure how it plays out, but I think you're absolutely right, Melissa.
Well, we talked about this last night, Sam. I was on another panel, and a large consensus of the people, all patriots, mind you, are frustrated and fed up, and if they only have so much time. I mean, okay, we've got the dream team. They need to show me this and they need to show me that, and specifically speaking around a particular list, right? And until I could articulate to them, I let it. I listened for a while, quite a while, and then I made the point that look, that list potentially contains names and affiliations of people that might potentially have a little red button at their disposal. I'm trying to be careful here, and I use my angry dog, scared dog analogy, and I'm like, you get these people cornered. Maybe the reason that it's not all front and center and it's not all out and going the way that we all impatiently want it to go is because that there's some pretty serious danger to just, opening the floodgates and we're coming for you, because they're gonna retaliate or protect themselves in ways that could potentially cause a significant amount of chaos. So we just got to be patient, folks.
I agree.
We just got to be patient.
100%. I agree. Hey, we have Terry here. Hey, Terry, glad you could make it. U.S. Christie 1974 is here. Gen X Holtz is here. Welcome, everybody. Lisa Maria's here. All right, the clan's all getting here. Share Baby 29 said, Alex is spicy today, LMAO. Yes, he is, Share Baby. He is cracking me up. Melissa said, I'm just so ready for mass arrest to take place. Well, Melissa, I agree. I understand that. But how many have already been arrested that we don't know about? I mean, there's a reason that we've had flights from all over the world to Gitmo. How many flights a day for years? I think part of this is just not been exposed optically to the American people or to the people of the world. But I am not surprised. Oh, my God. Alex is on a tear tonight. Wow. Allie Mae, I want to know what you put in that food is what I want to know. But I think that we have, there's the exposure of the nefarious deeds and people is taking place. Yes, we'd like to see perp walks. Yes, we'd like to see handcuffs. But I am convinced that more of that is happening and has happened in the background than we are privy to. What do you think, James?
It takes a long time to compose a movie, Sam. So if we're composing a movie and we end up making a show out of that that's pay-per-view only, that could be another way we're going to battle the national debt.
Yeah, boy, isn't that be the wheel of death or something? I don't know, but yeah, exactly.
I think it could be $500 and I'd pay it just to watch that happen.
Right, exactly. I think a lot of people probably would. Whoa, Robin said, patience is a virtue. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, Robin. I think so many of us have been in this fight for so long. And I'm not one of those ones that's impatient because I've been in this for almost 40 years. I have seen the progression, the awakening process take place over 4 decades. So where I see us at today, I didn't think would happen in my lifetime. So those of you who watch on a regular basis, I'm eternally optimistic because I've seen more people wake up in the last 4 years than the last 4 decades. So I am convinced we are on the right track. And I have faith in Trump and the team. I have faith in our military. I think that when the truth does come out about continuity of government, when it comes out about devolution, that we are in the throes of right now, we're going to have a lot more people wake up, but you can't just drop a bomb on them. They would literally freak out. And I think that's part of what's happening now. Hey, Wendy, thank you for the me's. Shauna T said, we just got home from the Gulf of America. Good job, Shauna. Chair Baby 29 said, I'd pay $2, all the elite arrested. Yeah, I think all of us probably would. Melissa said, do I file my taxes or not? Ha. Well, I've had a lot of people ask me this question, and this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. I think that, hey, nice t-shirt, James. But I don't think there's any harm in, oh my gosh, Alex, the Lion King. Slow down, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think there's any harm in filing an extension. There's no penalty with it. To the best of my knowledge. But if you want to get really in depth on the whole tax thing, go to my website, samshalhoub.com. There is a button. It's called the Freedom Law School. And I had Peyton Modahay, who runs that organization, on the show. And there are ways to do it where you can do it without reciprocity from the government. Now, I think that's all going to go away anyway. But to play it safe, go to Freedom Law School, go to my website, and check that out. I think you'll be impressed. So I'm going to do a little house cleaning here. So I failed to promote some of my sponsors on these lives. First and foremost is MyPillow. Mike Lindell picked me up as a new podcaster well over 2 years ago. And I want to do whatever I can to help him. So if you do need pillow, he's got over 200 products now. If you go to mypillow.com, use the discount code SAM, you'll get up to 80% off of anything on the website. Also, Neil Naturopathic. Dr. Neil has been on our show many times. He is the only non-toxic, chemical-free hair products on the market. Again, if you go to samshalhoub.com, click on your hair care products, and use the code SAM20, you'll get 20% off of your order. And then finally, Dr. Peter Glidden, who's been on the show many times, he has a website that is a wealth of knowledge. And if you click on that, it'll take you right to his website. And he has just released his latest book. There's another button for that. And if you use the button, you'll get a 10% discount on that. So just wanted to get that out there for everybody. MyPillow, Neil Naturopathic, and Dr. Glidden. They've supported me, and I am grateful for that, so I support them. What do we got going there, Alex? What is that?
That is an Asian pear tree.
Oh, nice.
And if that is not, every one of those flowers will become a pear. So we are in, well, if the freeze doesn't get us this year, the last 2 years, freeze has decimated my peach crop. So I'm hoping that this year the freeze doesn't get us. But I was just rubbing it in for our folks that are up north that are, 3 feet of ice waiting to to be able to fish. It's so warm here in the Midwest, and the spring flowers. Dude, those flowers smell like crap. But the other pear tree, these are all peach trees, and we're budding out.
Wow. Melissa wants to know how many acres you have, Alex.
40.
She said storms are coming through. Is that tonight that's supposed to hit?
Yeah, they'll be here later this evening. And these are just regular old pears, not the Asian pear.
Alex, isn't there some kind of a contraption that you could put in your garden there to cover the trees and heat them or something?
So, buddy, there are like 40 trees. No, there's not. These are, I mean, that trunk right there is probably 18 inches around, and that's probably 20, 25 feet up. I mean, you're not. So here's what you can do, though, if you know a freeze is coming. If you have the sprinklers with the adjustable settings, you can set it to a mist setting, and you effectively freeze the buds on the tree, because the ice will actually protect it more so than a hard freeze will. I know that's counterintuitive, but it works.
Interesting. When will they start to blossom or, to bear fruit?
We start usually the end of July. Peaches are June. So we're not too far off. We're just now getting leaves starting to come out. But yeah, the peach trees every year for the last 2 years, the blooms have gotten frozen, so we got no peaches. And in the past, when I've had hard freezes that took out the peaches and the pears, the following year that they do get to produce fruit, they're usually monsters and super juicy. So we'll see what happens. Well, hello. What are you doing?
Oh, there he is. How cute.
You're supposed to get down.
Oh, how cute. Christy B said the flowers are beautiful, but the dust is awful. We're getting the storms now.
We don't have any dust right now. It's sunny skies. I'm standing up on the rock wall. Here's another treat for you guys.
Oh, what is that?
That's lilacs, and the aroma is, just incredible.
Wow. How beautiful.
We're sunny skies right now. It's not here yet.
Well, it sounds like it's coming. So remember we talked about the government when it comes to retiring people, and
offering early buyouts.
Yeah, but no, this is about. So apparently, Patriots Are in Control on X said Doge discovered that when federal workers retire, the government follows a dinosaur age process that originated in the 50s.
Papers underground.
Yeah, and it hasn't been updated since the 50s. There's literally a mine in Pennsylvania that houses 22,000 filing cabinets and 400 million pieces of paper. Retirements are done by paper. The process takes 6 to 9 months, and the government is only capable of doing 8,000 per month. Unbelievable. But now Doge says that they're going to have the entire system digitized within the next couple of months. Now, my opinion is there's no way. Alex, he is on one tonight, isn't he, James? He is on one.
You heard when
It's Saturday.
he was out walking in the orchard, he was talking about 3 feet of ice. Well, that'd be me.
Yeah. Oh, really? You got the ice already?
He was giving me a good jab right there. But the night is young, sir.
Yeah, exactly. But what I find interesting is, how is it possible that President Trump comes into office and within a couple of months, all of these things are going to happen within a couple of months? this has got to be, they have been doing this in the background for years. I don't see how you can digitize that much information in a couple of months unless they've got a head start on it. What do you think, Alex?
Well, OCR technology's come a really long way, Sam. I mean, look at what's happened in a very short amount of time with medical offices moving to EMR systems, electronic medical record systems. The ability, literally, what will end up happening is literally there'll be, a trove of machines brought in, and someone paid, $15, $20 an hour to start scanning papers in. And it's really amazing what you can do with those OCR softwares. You can actually draw zones on a document, right? So if you know that every time in the top right-hand corner it's an address, you inside of your software can say, this is an address and I want it to go to this place and I want it to go over to another database, right? So you really can get laser focused about how you're gathering the information, where that information is going once it's scanned in, and literally it happens in an instant. When that piece of paper goes through that scanner, it parses the information and it's on its way. So I don't find that an unreasonable time frame at all. I mean, how many thousands of documents? 20,000 documents?
No, it was way more than that. It was something like millions.
300 millions of documents. Okay.
Yeah.
So the previous position that I had as director of IT, I know they were involved. It was a REIT. There were, I think, upwards of 7 million documents that are all real estate related, contract related, all of those things. And it's same thing. It scans in and it's off to digital land. So big data has come a really long ways. I don't think they'll have any trouble converting that data into an electronically searchable database and archive very, very, very quickly.
Interesting. Well, you would know better than I. It just seems like a monumental task to me.
No doubt it's a monumental task, but technology, farming 40 acres used to be a monumental task because all you had was a horse and a plow. And now,
right.
Farming 40,000 acres is simple because the tractor drives itself.
Yeah, exactly. ShareBaby29 said, Epic for the medical is nationwide, so if you go to a hospital in another state, they can see your history. Yeah, I don't doubt that this is a good thing. And I think my guess is, Alex, wouldn't they be putting something like these on the blockchain somehow so they can't be altered?
I mean, we would love to see that happen. Now, whether it does happen or not, I don't know. Whether it's blockchain or whether it's going to end up being just, SQL databases on secure servers for the government, totally up to them.
Oh my gosh, James, Alex is on one.
Yeah, he is.
Allie Mae, you might have to make a trip to the ER today.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They're picking on me.
Crazy train's coming.
Here comes the crazy train.
No, the crazy train is here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And his name is Alex tonight.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sam, what the military does to keep track of the tab on all their service members,
yeah,
they put all your data on a microfiche. So it takes between 6 to 8 months to get your microfiche once you request it, but your entire military file is on that microfiche. And it was a very simple system that they've had for decades. And I don't know if we haven't used that similar in this case that we just talked about tonight. Interesting.
Yeah, again, technology is not my forte, so I can't really speak to it, but it just seems like a monumental task. But I guess if you have the resources that the government does, they could probably do just about anything.
Well, they have these giant, like down in where Dave's at, where they're building those giant Google centers for data storage or memory or the engines that drive the internet. I mean, as we get bigger, we're going to have the storage for it.
Right. No, I agree. I 100% I agree. And I think that's part of why President Trump, is putting so much money into AI and other things of that nature, because that's the direction that we're going. At least that's the way it appears. So RFK talking about, he has announced the CDC is launching a new sub-agency to specialize in vaccine injuries. Wow. That's significant, you guys. He is really calling the pharmaceutical companies out. And he's calling them out in a way that they're not going to be able to, withstand what's going on, in my opinion. And I, for one, am glad to see it. Some angels have rotary wings. Nice, James. That's cool. I like that. And Alex with the paper bag. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Allie, I'm just kind of curious what Alex has been drinking tonight.
That's great.
Yeah, I know. Is that Allie Mae? Oh, my God. You both are on one. I want to know what was in that dinner.
Yeah, Rick, that is an XRP hat. I'm a staunch believer in the whole program, so that's why I'm bearing the hat.
Yeah.
I also have the coin, the XRP coin. I've got it in silver and gold.
Oh, very cool. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Oh yeah, I carry him around as a good luck charm.
Oh, very cool.
See, everybody's got. We all say prayers when it comes to the moon bag, and I'm pretty hopeful.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw that crypto took a hit today. Alex, how many points was it? How many percentage points was it down? Alex, you there?
He's muted.
Oh.
The train was passing. So it's down a couple of percent. But Sam, in November, XRP was like 50 cents.
Right.
It's still $2, folks. Calm down.
Yeah, no, I know. I just found it interesting that
not to you specifically, Sam, just to the masses.
right. And
a lot of people talk about that split ledger or the private ledger and the retail ledger, and they're talking about glitches up to 21,000. What a lot of people don't understand is with the ISO 20022 compliant coin is all the banks have to be online by the 16th of July. And when that happens, they will probably merge the private and the retail ledgers together, so it's the same price. And
Okay.
That's where it could go pretty crazy.
well, and didn't the banks just have to be they had to be complied with Basel III just a few months ago, right?
Correct.
So how does that all play into this? I don't know, but wasn't there a major downturn in the stock market on Friday?
Oh, sure. Stock market's taking a major hit.
Right.
Isn't that, do you think, in your opinion, Sam, that it might be part of the plan to change the fiat dollar to a gold-backed dollar?
I sure think so, James. I have to think, if you look at what's going on with the U.S. debt clock, and for those of you who aren't familiar with it, if you go to usdebtclock.org, there's a lot of information on there. If Alex was at his computer, I'd ask him to pull it up, but there are a lot of statistics, how much is the federal debt, how quickly is it growing, and so on and so forth. And one of those is called the hidden wealth in the U.S. And I think that we're going to see a significant adjustment in the stock market. I think we're going to see, is it a crash? Is it a collapse? Is it an adjustment? I don't know for sure, but I got to think it's coming especially when they tokenize the stock market, because then it's inalterable. You can't change it. So I think that's the direction that we're going, but when it's going to happen and how it's going to play out, your guess is as good as mine. So it looks like the TSA is in trouble of being dismantled in favor of private security. How they ever got the TSA passed when it comes to the Fourth Amendment is beyond me. But I, for one, am glad to see that there is some talk and some movement about the TSA. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, you're operating under the assumption that we're still able to operate under the Constitution.
Right.
Look at 11 and midnight on the 12th, the Patriot Act was passed. I mean, it's been a systematic dismantling of the constitutional republic for probably almost 100 years.
Right.
So what we're witnessing is the slow reversal of that. I mean, I have to hope and pray that that's what we're seeing, because if it's not, I really think this is our last shot at it, folks.
Yeah, I would agree. And then right alongside that, President Trump saying that the U.S. needs Greenland for international security. Combine that with Canada, the possible 51st state. There's a lot of things happening in the background, you guys. People that are saying, oh, there's not enough happening. There's a heck of a lot going on. I just don't think that we're privy to some of the optics at this point, at least not in my opinion.
Well, one of the checks, Sam, for TSA is this has only been in the law for 3 years. But one thing that has come in, and if you think about it, Real ID is going to help TSA some. Having a known traveler number or TSA pre, I mean, they're still going to be using those tools.
Right. I agree. There's a lot of questions in the chat about cryptocurrency, XRP, Bitcoin. I hold private classes. If you go to samshalhoub.com and there's a button on there that says learn how to buy or hold Bitcoin, you can book an appointment with me directly. I'll walk you through the process. I've done it with dozens of people because it's so new. People just don't understand it, but I would be happy to walk you through it. So go to samshalhoub.com and click on the Bitcoin button.
And by all means, if you're going to step into that arena, which I think eventually everybody's going to be forced to in one capacity or another, there's all these videos about QFS and the quantum financial system. That's a scam, folks.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Do your research. If a friend sends you this too good to be true website that if you put $100 in, you get $1,000 out, just scroll to the bottom of the page and see if there's any company information. See if there's a legitimate, company behind it. You can go to Google and let's say it's crypto1000generator.com. You can do a who is, WHOIS, who is crypto generator 1000. And if the website was created like 2 weeks ago, it's probably a scam, right? There's a lot of scams out there. So, don't, not financial advice. We're not here to tell everybody how to do their stuff, but you've got to tread lightly and educate yourself. And it takes time and it's frustrating and it's new technology to a lot of people in this country. A lot of people they've paid attention to the narrative for, damn near 20 years about how it's a scam and only crooks use it and this and that and the other. That's just not the case. It's a real thing. It exists. We're not all stock traders. We're not all crypto people. But I think that as it continues to make its way into the commonplace of life every day and banking systems and all of those things, it's going to become more and more. And the further ahead of that curve that you can set yourself up to be, the better off you're going to be in the end, because it's coming.
Alex, SSZAT has a question I'd like you to answer. She said, what's the difference between Bitcoin and XRP?
Different technology, different cryptography, different, we'll call it programs. If we break this down to its most simple nature, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. It resides on a blockchain, which is a computer language, we'll say. Windows is written in one language, websites are written in another language, and cryptography is written in another language. The Bitcoin utility, the use of Bitcoin is really like gold. It's a store of wealth. What makes gold valuable? People's desire to have it. Same thing with Bitcoin. What makes Bitcoin popular. People's desire to have it, right? XRP is a utility that allows for cross-border worldwide payments instantly, and the cost of that transfer is negligible. So what happens when we live in a world where I send money to my uncle in Washington, and it costs me 1,000th of a penny, and he has it in his account instantly? That is the utility. What happens when banks, instead of settling accounts at midnight every night on their AS400s, which are 60-year-old computers that reconcile the account and sync up with each other over the course of hours at night, that these transactions happen instantly. So each coin, each technology has a different utility or a different function, and that's where you really start to throw yourself at it and understand meme coins, the Pepes, the Shiba Inus, the Doge coins. The meme coins, to me, not a place to be. The NFTs, digital art. What makes a painting worth money? Somebody's desire to possess it. NFTs are another place where, people have made a lot of money buying digital art. They own a piece of art, but that's just not where I play. Where I play is in the ISO coins, because what ISO stands for is it's an industry standard, right? It's a set of rules that all organizations in the place agree that this is how we're going to proceed forward. And so when you look at the technologies and they're getting together and they're saying, we've got to have some standard operating procedures around the way that these things work with each other, you're getting to a point where some very heavy hitters are stepping into this space. And when I say heavy hitters, I'm talking about large banking institutions, large corporations, governments, countries are getting in, right? Because we've now established some standards. It's no longer the wild, wild west. Back in 2009, 10, 11, even up to 12, before Bitcoin, they said Bitcoin will never hit $100. And in 2013, it hit $100. Well, it'll never get more than, $1,000. Well, it's gone up over $100,000 per coin, per unit, however you want to look at it. It's here to stay, folks. It's not going anywhere.
I agree.
And the cycle goes in this manner. First, they attack it, okay? Then they sue it, right? Then they try to legislate it because they adopt it. And we are in the adoption phase. It's coming.
Right. I agree.
One of the other things too, with XRP and its cross-border payment and the ISO 20022 theme is speed. So in the old system, SWIFT took hours, sometimes more than a day, to process just one transaction. And with XRP, you're be able to do 15,000 transactions per minute, and the dollar value doesn't matter.
It's actually higher than that. It's billions of transactions a day, and the only other network in the world that's doing billions of transactions is the SWIFT network. You're talking Visa, MasterCard, billions of transactions a day will be able to be processed through the XRP ledger. And the reality of it is the cost of electricity, right, and the cost of the computers that process that power is so high. XRP is coming in and doing it for micro fractions of the way we do business today for considerably less money. So it's faster, it's cheaper. What does it look like in a world of transactions when we don't have to give part of our money to the bank for a transfer fee or a wire fee or a Venmo fee or a PayPal fee or what? Like, that all goes away. The whole system changes dynamically in a pretty incredible way.
Right. I'm married to Bob is here from Ohio. Teresa Fair Contractor is here. Lord Bullion is here. Thank you for the gifts, Lord Bullion. Melissa said, I'll never do meme coins. Daddy D said, does XRP still gain value in a cold wallet? Yes, it does. The cold wallet is just how you store it. It would be the same thing as holding a gold bar. Personally, it doesn't matter whether you hold it or a bank does. The fact is that as that price of gold goes up, so does the value of whatever it is that you're holding. Hopefully that answers your question, Daddy D. Nico sent some heart me's. Thank you, Nico.
Nico.
SSZ set. Yeah, sure. Just book an appointment with me on my website. I'll be happy to walk you through the process. All right. So U.S. now talking about crypto, talking about the stock market, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is beginning to onboard Doge staff. That is a big move, in my opinion. I think we're going to move away from the hypothecated stock market that's super overvalued to a more legitimate value of that system. And what is that going to look like? Well, my guess is we're probably going to see some sort of an adjustment. Now, when it's going to happen and how big it's going to be is anybody's guess. But what do you think about that, Alex?
Well, I think that, and I'm not sure the exact technicalities about this, but Elon in particular, there's only a certain amount of time that he can do what he's doing before he has to convert to being a federal employee or something. I think we're going to see everything get set up for everybody else in government to take the reins and run with it. And I mean, it's common sense, people. If you own a business, you have QuickBooks, let's say. There's payments in, there's payments out, and there's notes on those payments. Who got what you made a payment on. There's notes, who I sent a check to. And the absurdity of these 40, 50, 60-year-old computer systems that are in use today that are obsolete, they're electricity and power hogs, the amount of money. We're spending more on an IT budget, I believe, in the United States than we are on our military budget. And it's to maintain systems that are 40 to 60 years old. As an IT person, that's insane. Like, that's ludicrous. It's just dumb. There's faster computers, faster software, better software, and there are some significant hurdles to making upgrades from old systems, because you have a learning curve for your staff, and there's integration curves because this system talks to that system, talks to this system. I mean, all of this is really, really good news. It may hurt. It may hurt pretty bad for a little bit, but on the other side of that is an efficient, smooth, trackable, transparent reality that we all are just starving to have.
I agree. Sometimes there's a little bit of pain, but I think what we're going to see on the other end is going to be significant. All right, guys. Well, I think that we've covered pretty much everything today. It's getting a little late out here on the West Coast, or the left coast, however you want to call it. So why don't we wrap this up? James, let's get some final thoughts.
Well, as we're going forward, there is a lot to think about. There's a degree of patience that we all got to exercise. What?
I know, my God.
I tell you, you can ruin the train of thought, Alex. Oh my! But as we're going forward, take into account all the things that are changing around us. A lot of people aren't comfortable with change, and I for one have not been comfortable with change over my life, whether it be an insurance policy or a driver's license upgrade. Some of that stuff is kind of hard to take a grasp of. This is way beyond that, but we desperately need it. Alex pointed out the dinosaur technology that we're paying for that's obsolete. It's kind of like basically the VHS tape, and now it went to beta, and now it went to digital, and now we're into the internet. And it's time to grow. It is a big growing pain, and it's something that we have to keep in mind.
Right, I agree. Share Baby 29 said, Alex has been on fire tonight. Yes, he has, Share Baby. He's on one. Alex, final thoughts?
It's Saturday. It's the weekend. Do something that you love to do. Enjoy your passions. The time to just be loving life. So sorry if I'm a little on fire today, but we're so serious all week long, Sam. I thought, let's just have some fun with it.
Let your hair down.
Let your hair down. Check it out. Wiggle your beard. It's high time that we all just take a big deep breath. Do something that you love to do this weekend. Make the phone call to that person that comes to mind that you haven't talked to in a while, because tomorrow's not promised, folks. It's just not. So, Sam, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys putting up with my antics. I promise on Monday I'll behave.
Okay.
Maybe I'll shave my beard and put on a suit and tie, and we'll get serious about it.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh, okay. I didn't think so. All right, you guys, everybody out there, thank you for joining us on this late edition of the Daily Dispatch Live. We're going to try different times over the next couple weeks, and we're going to see what everybody likes. Next Wednesday, instead of in the morning, we're going to be doing another afternoon session. So at 4 p.m. Pacific time, but I'll announce it on the Daily Dispatch. So in the meantime, James, thank you. Alex, thank you. Allie Mae, thank you for lighting up Alex tonight. And everybody out there, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll all talk again soon. Have a good weekend.
Stay blessed.